Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. So I'm so happy you are here. Today we're going to be talking about the medical school interview and 5 steps you can use in order to crush that medical school interview. Alright, so tip number 1 is that you want to prepare your story. When you're giving an interview, the interviewer is going to have a set of notes that they have to take back and present to the other people. And essentially they're going to be advocating for you whether they want you or not want you for the medical school class. And you want them to remember a couple of things about you, because if you don't share some stories about who you are as a person and how you're different from other people and how you have a unique personality, they're not going to remember or necessarily advocate or remember who you are. And so you want to prepare a set of 5 or 6 anecdotes or stories that you usually use when you're introducing yourself to somebody or when you have something interesting that you want to say. And try to figure out the shortest and most engaging and most interesting way that you can share those stories. Once you've prepared these stories, you should be prepared to be able to repurpose these stories in response to different questions. So if somebody says, tell me about yourself, you might be able to incorporate 2 or 3 of the stories into who you are as a person. Or if somebody asks you, tell me about a challenge that you faced and how you overcame that, you should be able to repurpose one of the stories that you've prepared into a answer to that question. These stories can be educational, they can be non-educational, they can be about your personal life. There should be some mix and match about them. So did you grow up in an interesting area that gave you a lot of your family values? Did you play a sport throughout most of your childhood in which you had a lot of injuries? Did you face some difficult medical situation that got you wanting to be a doctor? You should prepare a lot of these types of stories and figure out a really engaging way to tell the beginning, middle, and end. And hopefully you'll be able to tell these stories within 30 seconds or a minute or however long it takes you. Essentially, you want to verbalize and write down what you want somebody to take away from you as soon as you finish the interview. And sometimes I had medical school interviewers who actually said what they took away from me and asked me if that was correct. So one of my medical school interviewers said that based on a lot of the stories and based on a lot of the answers that you've given me, it seems like you are somebody who likes to read and likes to learn things in order to figure out how to solve a problem, and then you solve that problem by implementing what you learned. And I said, yeah, that is a really good summary of who I am or how I try to solve problems. And that was something that he took away from me, because I planned to answer the questions kind of around that theme and around that subject. Step 2 is to set an environment up for success. So one aspect to this is whether you're giving an online interview. And so if you're giving an online virtual interview, you want to make sure that your lighting is really good. And how you set this up, which I did terribly, my lighting was absolutely horrendous. But if you want good lighting, basically you sit with your screen or your laptop, and behind that, so let's say this is my laptop, behind the laptop should be some form of natural light or a lamp or something that shines up your face. Because when you have a light that's equally applied to your whole face when it's behind the camera, essentially what that's doing is eliminating all these like skin blemishes and everything, and makes you look really beautiful. What I did was I had this light behind me. I was sitting with a window behind me, and that just looked awful because all the light was going into the screen, and I just looked, you could barely see my face and everything. So that's one thing if you're doing virtual interview. The second thing is that you want to dress the part. Even if you feel comfortable in your home or wherever you're taking the interview, you want to make sure that you are looking good, especially just the top up. So wear a tie, wear a dress shirt if you're a guy, you can wear a dress if you're a woman, but just wear something that makes you feel good and that makes you look good. And the last thing is that they're not super forgiving a lot of times about difficulties with Wi-Fi, difficulties with mic, because they expect you to be prepared and to test all these things before entering the Zoom call. And so even though there's a lot of exceptions that they make sometimes when students are having a lot of difficulties, you want to make sure that your Wi-Fi is set up properly. You might need to have a backup plan, like use I'm forgetting what they call it, the thing on your phone, hotspot. You want to have a hotspot. But just in general, have some backup plans for if anything at all goes wrong. If you're in person, you want to make sure that you're arriving to your location on time / early. If you're 20 minutes early, then that is preferable. And yeah, just be really warm. Maybe you can do some exercise before your interviews. That's what I usually try to do, because I felt like my nerves went down a lot when I did some exercise. And those are usually the tips I have for setting up your environment for success. Look your best, feel your best, and do your best. All right, step 3 is my favorite, which is confidence drills and speaking drills. So the number 1 key, I think, to giving a good interview is that you want to be confident. So a good mental reframing hack that I have is that a lot of times our mental default is that we are not good enough. So we are not good enough to give a good interview. We are not good enough to enter this medical school class. We are not good enough to be that person's friend. We are not good enough to make $1 million, right? And so my mental hack, which I encourage you to start doing, is whenever you feel like that, you always think, I think they're going to miss out on the opportunity to have me within their medical class. I think they're going to miss out on the opportunity to have a conversation with me. Think about all the things that they're missing out on if I don't do what I'm thinking of doing. So if you're asking somebody on a date and you're too nervous because you're like, what if they don't like me? What if they say something? What if they feel insulted? You can think, what if they miss out on the opportunity of being able to talk to me and see how interesting of a person I am? So that might seem a little arrogant and cocky, but it's actually just switching the mental default from I am not good enough to thinking they might miss out on being able to meet me. And so if you can think like that, if you can think like, what if they miss out on the opportunity to have me as a medical student? Or what if they just at the minimum miss out on the opportunity to hear my story and learn about me in the full depths of my personality? Then I think that you will feel a lot more confident for your medical school interview. I'm gonna go over some speaking drills that you can do in another video, but I think that if you use that confidence hack and you try some of the speaking exercises that I have in some of the other videos, and you'll feel really confident and you'll be able to give a good interview for your medical school interview. All right, part 4 is to do some mock practice. And so you can break down usually a lot of the questions that they're going to ask. Usually they're going to ask, tell me about yourself, why medicine, why do you want to be a doctor? By the way, this is for interviews that are closed and open file, not for MMI interviews. That'll be for another video. But usually they're going to ask pretty similar questions. Why do you want to go to the school? What should we remember about you? Why do you want to be a doctor? Why not nurse? Why not PA? Tell me about a challenging situation you've had, things like that. And so if you can kind of prepare in general, maybe ask a parent or ask a sibling to ask you these questions, and maybe you can record yourself on camera answering these questions and see how you answer them, see your habits, your nervous tics, whether you're doing a good job, whether you're doing a bad job, whether you're making eye contact, whether you are enunciating every single word. And so improve on those things, and if you can do that every day for like 7-8 days, I'm sure you will do a lot better than when you started. But practice makes progress, so just keep practicing and you'll absolutely kill it. All right, step 5 is the easiest thing of all, but it's also the hardest thing, which is what to do after your interview. And I think that best thing is, one, you want to send thank you notes to your interviewers within 24 hours. They took their time out of their day, and a lot of them could be doing important things like surgeries or seeing patients or patient care, or also it's just self-care. So you just want to thank them for their time. Send a thank you letter. Tell them again that you're really excited to go to that medical school, and it should just be like 3, 4 sentences maybe, but just keep it short and simple. Just gratitude makes a good impression. You want to have patience. You have no idea how long it might take. They might tell you how long it'll take, but usually it'll take a while for them to get back to you, which is really frustrating. But just have patience, smile a lot, have confidence. No matter what happens, you are an amazing human being, and you hopefully did your best effort at giving a good interview. The rest is not up to you. So do what you can, control what you can. I believe in you. Good luck. I'm going to be making more medical school interview questions. So if you leave some comments in the comment section, I can know what you guys are looking for. But see you in the next video. Bye guys. Love you.